And from 5 to 6:30 p.m., live and local. 107.7, The Pulse.
Welcome back to Food for Thought with Carol. And joining me is Jeannie Lester, and also Tyler's in the house. And we are live at the Beacon Building today in downtown Manchester. And it's pretty lively up in the atrium right now. We have King Arthur Flour joining us today. And you can check them out on the web at kingarthurflour.com. And they are up there decorating cupcakes. And Melanie is here. Melanie Wanders is here from King Arthur Flour. And you can come in and you can actually decorate your own cupcake. There's all kinds of decorations on her table and frostings. I think she said she had there's 3 different frostings up there, I think. And so I'm going to let Jeannie take it away so she can chat with Melanie a little bit. So Jeannie, take it away.
All right. Well, I am excited to be up here and talking with Melanie Wanders. Melanie received her culinary arts and management degrees from the Culinary Institute of America. But Melanie, as I looked into a little more of your background with culinary arts, it got increasingly difficult to pronounce some of the experiences you have. Can you tell us briefly some of your background and history with culinary arts?
Sure. During my time at school, I did an internship out at Chez Panisse in Berkeley, California. They focus on organic ingredients and kind of using heirloom seeds and things like that. So it was really interesting to see. And then once I finished up with school, I moved up to this area and worked at L.A. Burdick Chocolates down in Walpole, New Hampshire, where I met my husband, who's a German master pastry chef. And we ended up going back to Germany and working in his parents' shop. So they have a cafe and pastry shop in Germany, about 250 seats. And then in a very roundabout way, we decided we were going to come back to the U.S. and open our own shop. So we opened our own artisan chocolate shop in Metro D.C. for 6 years before kind of coming back here again to be home with our family.
Wow, we'll talk about an amazing pairing. I mean, the skills that you and your husband bring together when it comes to culinary arts must be a lot of fun and something that people love to taste. But so in your time at King Arthur Flour, you've is there one particular area that you've focused on more than others?
I tend to stick with the pastry side of things. We kind of branch out into breads and pastries, and so I tend to stick with the pastry side of things. And kind of focus on cake decorating, croissants, things like that.
Beautiful. Okay, so what are we going to be doing for folks today that want to decorate?
Sure. So I thought I would bring a couple different flavors of cupcakes and frostings and fillings so that people could kind of try to get their favorite pairing together. So we have some dark chocolate cupcakes, some vanilla bean cupcakes, different fillings. We have some lemon curd, a raspberry jam, and a hazelnut chocolate spread. And then we have an American-style vanilla buttercream and a kind of a more European-style Italian chocolate meringue buttercream.
Okay, so I mean, those flavors sound very nice and certainly beyond what we would do normally at home, but I would imagine they're easy to produce at home.
They are. All of these recipes are very kind of user-friendly and are easy to put together. So.
Okay, and now let's see. And what is your name, young lady?
Janine Matibier.
All right, so Janine, are you up for doing some decorating here?
Yes, I am.
So if you would like to fill your cupcake, we have a little cupcake core here, so you can just kind of, there you go, so you know what you're doing.
I love the cup. Now, what we're talking about, a cupcake core, is something that looks about the size of your thumb, and it just drills a little hole into the cupcake so that you can put a filling in there. And Janine is stabbing her cupcake with a core. Oh, and you twist it and then you eat the filling just like it's a munchkin.
Yum.
Or the little piece that comes out. Yeah.
As you're getting started.
Okay, it looks like they're having fun already just with the stabbing of the cupcakes here.
Yeah. All right, I'm going to put a little lemon curd in mine, a little bright on a cold day.
That sounds very good.
You know, lemon curd, I never realized that you can use lemon curd. Like, she's using it like as a frosting or a filling?
A filling, yep. So the lemon curd is going inside. She's got a vanilla cupcake. She did a hole in the center of the cupcake and is piping in some lemon curd.
Now, does she do the hole from the top, and then you would frost
from
it
the
after?
top, and we're going to
that makes
frost right
sense.
over the top of that. And okay, and it looks like Janine filled hers with some chocolate filling in the
Ooh,
middle.
I bet that's for Uncle Bert.
She chose not to answer that one.
Yeah, I'm going to start on the outside. I'm going to make a rotation all the way around. And then when I get almost to the point that I started, then I'll make a smaller revolution in the center and then end kind of with a little star on top.
Okay, so what they're doing is the tips that are on the pastry bags, of course, are those beautiful designer star tips. And just by circling around the top of the cupcake, they're making something that looks just beautiful, and it looks like a bakery cupcake.
Very nice. I hope you're making me one, Jeannie.
I'm sure we're making you a few.
Oh, yeah, a few, sure.
Confettis. The nice thing about this sparkling sugar is that it stays sparkly and won't melt into the frosting, so it's really nice also for baking. And I also have, since I have some lemon curd in mine, I'm going to put a little bit of the lemon-flavored sugar on mine.
Lemon-flavored sugar.
Yes, and it's beautiful. It is a pale yellow, and there's almost a little sparkle to it, and that's what's nice about many of the toppings up here. There are different colored, what did you call them, Melanie? Are they crystallized sugar?
Sparkling sugar.
Sparkling sugar, and it does, so it doesn't just meld into the rest of the frosting. It stands out and really makes it look like we've done something amazing here.
And even through baking, so you could put them on top of sugar cookies, so you wouldn't actually have to decorate sugar cookies with frosting, or on top of muffins, scones, things like that.
And so they're available in all those different colors, because I'm looking, you've got almost a fuchsia there. I mean, there's a hot pink and an aqua blue and a peachy color.
They are. We usually change with the season, so around the holidays you'll see red, white, and green, and then during the spring we have nice bright colors like these.
Beautiful. They're beautiful. See, and people are having fun just with the decorating. It gets less about what we're actually going to consume and more about the decorating.
They're having fun.
So let me see. Now, Janine, let me ask you, having done just a couple of cupcakes now, is this something that that gets you excited about? Maybe I'm going to start doing something like this at home?
Yes, I am. Maybe at Belmont Hall.
There you go. That would be a beautiful thing. It's neat because there are things that are certainly attainable for home and make things much more fun and very interactive. You know, yes, little kids could do it, and people are doing parties now that are interactive, or they're themed parties. This would be a great party to have, not only for kids, but for, adults or any kind of a party. You could do this set up like a cupcake bar and have people participate and watch how much fun it is to get into it and act like a kid again.
That is a great idea.
Exactly, and the nice thing for the host is that everything can be made ahead of time. So it's really just having fun once everybody gets there.
Beautiful.
Yeah, like a dinner party. That's a different idea. You can have all your little toppings on little dishes, and it's just something different.
It is. And what I like on my side, because we all know that I don't particularly enjoy complicated gadgetry or thousands of steps.
Useless gadgets.
Yes. This doesn't look overwhelming. We've got the little corer, again.
That is way cool.
It is. It's thumb size to make that hole in the middle of the cupcake, and the pastry bags, which you have to use again and again, and the tips. I mean, it's not an overwhelming assortment of things that you would need to make this fun.
Right. And, for those of you that are just tuning in, you are listening to WTPL FM, The Pulse, 107.7, Food for Thought. We are live at the Beacon Building in downtown Manchester, and we have King Arthur Flour in house with us, and we are doing people up in the atrium having lunch at Midtown Cafe are decorating their own cupcakes, and they're all having a blast upstairs.
Absolutely, yes. And we got a rousing delicious from the corner table as well. So not only is it fun, it's fun to play with your food. Now, Melanie, what are you finding that people enjoy the most about? I mean, right here, we're just doing kind of a simple demonstration of decorating cupcakes. But of course, at the Institute, I don't want to call it an institute because that sounds very wrong. But the cooking classes that you have at King Arthur, what are some of the things that people really tend to gravitate toward?
Sure. So at the Baking Education Center at King Arthur, I would say kind of our most popular classes are things that you see every day. So baguettes, making sourdough bread at home, making croissants, learning how to make cakes from scratch, and the frostings and how to frost and things like that. So I think things that people can do at home on a regular basis. So they come to learn from us, and then it's a skill that they can use throughout the rest of their life, really.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, because just as we saw the folks doing here, and all you gave were a couple of simple instructions as far as how to do that frosting and to start at this end, and just having the right tools seems like it would make it much more enticing for people to do. I'm sure you found that to be the case. Well, we are going to take a quick break, but stay tuned. There'll be more food for thought when we come back.
Food for Thought returns after these messages.
Hey, welcome back to Food for Thought. We are live at the Beacon Building, and there's all kinds of stuff going on upstairs in the atrium. It's like so fun. There's lots of people up there decorating their cupcakes, and we have King Arthur Flour joining us today, and let's welcome in the studio Melanie Wanders from King Arthur Flour. Welcome.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
Yeah, we're so glad that you came down, and you have this great setup upstairs, and it's really interesting. And you know what I want to ask you? Lemon curd. I'm always intrigued, but I've never tasted lemon curd. I'm very excited to taste it. I mean, when I think of lemon curd, I just think of it being, what is lemon curd anyway, actually? What is it? I mean, when you think of curd, you think of curdle, and then it's sour.
Sure. Yeah. So it's basically sugar and lemon juice mixed together with egg yolks and then cooked until it thickens. So the egg yolks is actually the thickener in it. So it's kind of a lemon pudding, if you will, without the dairy part, but the eggs to thicken it.
Wow. See, I always am intrigued when I see a jar of lemon curd. I'm always like, what is that stuff? I've never, ever tasted it. So I'm anxious to taste that.
But yeah, and then
And I
think
love
about
lemon.
the pairings. You do?
I do.
So just having that be able to pipe into the middle of
Yes.
a cupcake, or what are some of the other one that I was wondering about? You had a bag there of, I believe it was like a jam, and is it just straight jam?
It was,
strawberry jam.
yes.
Okay,
Yep,
so
it
you
was
can put just a
raspberry
little
jam.
raspberry jam in the middle, and then frost it. You could do the chocolate raspberry combination, or
Exactly. Really any jam. So cherry jam. We used to do a pina colada cupcake with pineapple jam in the center and then toasted coconut on top. So there's really so many variations you
There
could do.
is. I mean, you can, it's endless, really, when you think about it. you know?
Exactly.
what I found fascinating as I kind of was looking more into what King Arthur flour is, because it's not just that bag of flour, is not only, I'm sure we'll get into this a little bit too, but not only are there so many different variations of flour and all this stuff that goes into it that I just didn't realize, but going back to the cooking classes, there are all different levels of classes available. And there was a cooking for kids, and that's what makes me think of, just the demonstration you did for us today. It was fun, but it was simple enough not to be overwhelming. It's something that the average baker could do. But you also have professional level cooking classes for those that really want to refine their skills or get into a particular art. Is there a tendency, do you see a swelling to one group or another, or is it pretty well spread out across whether it's the home baker, cooking for kids, or professional level folks that are taking the classes?
I think it's pretty well spread out, but I think it's great to see the number of kids that are really interested in cooking and kind of knowing where their food comes from and learning how to do it themselves. And so we, in our kids' classes, they're making the same things that adults make, kind of sometimes in an easier way, but they're making rolls by hand, and they're making pizza by hand, and cookies and things like that. And we have kids classes where they can come with a parent. So if they're very small, you can start, 4 or 5 years old and then work all the way up into the teenage years. We have classes throughout vacation weeks.
Must be busy during vacation week, I bet.
They are. So we have one-time classes for them, or they can come for a whole week.
Oh my
where they're taking
goodness.
classes
So like
every
a
day.
baking camp.
Camp.
Exactly. Yes.
That's so cool. Well, you know what it reminds me of? You know, I've been seeing commercials. I haven't actually watched the show, but on the Food Network, with Duff with the kids. You know, they're
Yes.
doing this big finale thing. Did you see the stuff they're making?
I saw
It's like
just one
unbelievable.
episode, and these kids are turning out dishes that would put me to shame.
It's
I mean,
crazy.
yes.
Yeah. But that's really exciting though that the kids are, you know, liking it like you said, and they're really getting into it. And you know, I never knew how to make rolls when I was a kid.
I still
you know?
don't know how to make rolls because it involves yeast. that kills it
I'm
for
not
Do
me.
you
a
have a
baker.
yeast phobia?
I do, and it's born out of two bad
Yeast
experiences.
phobia.
But I like that, and maybe I have yeast phobia syndrome. I mean, is there a class to get me past that? Because when I was in my 20s, and I decided, okay, every young woman needs to know how to make bread, and I tried to make bread, and I committed half a day to trying to make bread, and it did not. It was not pleasant. It did not turn out well. I mean, you have to have it in a temperature controlled place, and it has to rise the right amount, and then you have to punch it, smack it, and then let it rise again, smack it down, and then at the end I had a tough, icky product. So
Oh.
I would love to be able to make it because there's nothing like the smell of bread baking.
That's true. And when you were having a tough time, that would have been a good time to call our baker's hotline.
Good idea. Yes, I think that's a good thing for people to know, and not just for Thanksgiving or the time that people really kind of get in a panic. But tell me about what the baker's hotline is.
Yes, so it's a service that we offer through King Arthur Flour. It's staffed by professional bakers 7 days a week, especially during the holidays. I think it's open from 8 a.m. to 9 p.m. during the holidays, so when you really need help. But you can reach us by phone, ask any questions that you have. If you're kind of in a baking crisis, we can help you work through that, or just to chat about baking. We also have a chat service so that you can kind of chat real time as you're in the
Chat
kitchen
with a
with
baker.
us.
That would be fantastic. That is so
Very
neat.
cool. And you know, the number is 855-371-BAKE, BAKE. So that's very cool. You know, we at the diner, I own the Red Arrow, and we bake all of our stuff there on premises. And we were one time having a problem with, you know, with the cakes not being moist enough. And because I get the King Arthur Flour catalog and stuff. I love King Arthur Flour. And we called the baker's hotline. And they helped her through, and there was some product to add to the cake mix, you know, to the recipe, or you know, and to make. I don't remember what it was. I'm not a baker. I have baking phobia. So, but yeah, we used it, and it's great. It's great. I tell people that a lot of times.
See, I think we do need to have you, before this is through, get up and at least do a cupcake, because you have said, when we've talked about baking before, you have shared, Carol, that you do not have. Yes, that you do not have a love for baking. You have baking phobia. It's messy. It's now what's going on up there is not all that messy. It's pretty.
But you know what? I was
contained.
watching Melanie get ready,
Yeah.
and that was just, you know, with the pastry bag. I actually used to decorate cakes. I used to
Did
do
you
wedding
really?
cakes and everything. I did. So I, but you know, it's the bags, and then you got to clean them out. Well, actually, you throw them. I did the parchment bags, but it's a lot of work. And it's messy. I'm a neat cook. I'm not like a messy cook. I have to clean, you know, and the thought of like rolling out dough and the flour all over the place, forget it. Forget it. Just not for me. But let's talk about King Arthur Flour, the store, because I've been up to the store, and
Yes,
I just
the
think
baker's store.
it's so. When I walked in there, I was just like, I love kitchen stores and, you know, stores like that. King Arthur Flour has like everything in there. They have gadgets and you know, food processor. I mean, everything. There's everything there. Every cake pan imaginable is in there. And you know, you were talking about sugars upstairs. Like, how many different kinds of sugars do you have?
A lot.
A lot.
I haven't counted, but I know there's a whole
There
rack dedicated
is. There
to
is
them.
so many different. Because I was trying to explain to you, Jeannie, about it, and you were, you know, you were all surprised too. Because I think a lot of people, like Jeannie said, think that it's King Arthur flour, and it's flour,
Right.
and it's not just flour. But you know, it's funny because I've been talking about you coming now for a few weeks, and it's so amazing how many people say that is the only flour I use. It's the best flour. Because you know now, because I think there was a time not too long ago that you couldn't buy it in the grocery store, but now you can.
You can, yes.
Right.
Now, I believe we're in all 50 states now, so you can get us across the country.
Yeah, but I think that's kind of fairly new, right?
Mhm.
That yes, because I always would get your popover box, And then all of a sudden it's in the grocery store. I was like, no way. So cool. So yeah.
And it's neat because, as you've indicated, Carol, it's about the ingredients that you use. I mean, I'm sure, Melanie, that in your time as a pastry chef and in the things that you've done, all of your training, that it's dependent on using the best ingredients to produce a good product. What's interesting to me is even within that, obviously King Arthur is committed to great ingredients, but there are hard wheats and soft wheats in any kind of flour, or the wheat protein is at different levels. So that's fascinating. Hard wheats are best for yeast leavened goods, which means I probably wouldn't be using them. Durum wheat is hard wheat that's ideal for pasta. And then soft wheats have less protein in them and are good for tender baked or soft baked goods. So it's just really thinking about the components of flour.
It's amazing. I mean, there's so many different components to it. It's crazy and it's messy. You didn't say that.
Yes. It is a little messy, but well worth the mess.
I guess so.
See, it's funny. I don't know if you're a soup baker, Melanie.
I am.
You are?
Yeah, most people are.
Well,
Jeannie.
she's also not afraid of flour, Carol.
Well, I know. Well, she's a baker.
We had this big discussion about the how involved it is to make soup, and they've got me trying to take a turkey carcass and boil it down for days, and then take that product and cook your meat in it, and then you have to chop your vegetables and cook those in butter, and then stick some garlic, which also you'd have to peel and chop, by the way. It's just, I mean, what a commitment!
And then to make bread to go with it.
Oh, good night. That would put me right over the edge. You can just white jacket right there. No,
she's never made soup before. Don't you find that strange? Never make soup. She's on a task. She has a task. She's coming in tomorrow with soup.
You know, we actually have a bread and soup supper class where you can come and actually make soup and bread together.
That's so cool.
I don't know if that sounds like inspiring to me, or if that sounds like kind of a nightmare and I'm going to wake up in a sweat.
In 3 hours, you'll have dinner ready, and you just go home and eat it.
That's pretty cool.
3 hours? Okay, so 3 hours is a moderate commitment. That's not too bad.
And we do the cleanup. That's the best part.
I'm in. Yeah, see, Carol, you could be baking if they're going to do the cleanup, too.
That's true. This is true.
I will check out that soup.
We need to check out some of those classes.
That sounds
I think
like
that would be really fun. That would be really fun.
Yes.
But the other thing I wanted to point out with the store, when you go in, I mean, you have all, most of your product. Well, I don't think you have so many products. I don't think you have them all in the store, right? I mean, most of them maybe, or
we have a lot.
You have a lot. I mean, there's a lot.
The catalog and online and things like that. So there's a really wide range of things that you can find.
Right. And then you also have which I really thought was cool. You have like that section where a baker is making something, and you can ask them questions, and it's pretty cool. There's like a whole like kind of a demo area going on most of the time.
Yes, we have our own demo kitchen in the back where we're always baking, and so you can come in and sample what we're making and talk to different bakers and kind of get your questions answered there too.
Right, and then you have the cafe. Can we talk a little bit about the cafe?
Sure.
So what can people expect if they walk? Like, because I mean, do people do you have like regular customers in the area that come and eat at the cafe or drink coffee at the cafe? Or
we do. So we're located in Norwich, Vermont, which is right across the river from Hanover and Dartmouth College. So we have locals that come in for coffee, a croissant, Danish, things like that. In the morning, we also have different breakfast sandwiches and porridge and things like that. And then in the afternoon, we have hot lunches, kind of salads to go, sandwiches to go, different things like that, along with the whole pastry case. So we have cakes for special occasions, but then also kind of individual desserts that you can take with you, cookies, bars, things like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's big up there. I mean, you have like a whole campus of things going on up there.
Yeah, and we also do Pizza Fridays, so you can call in and put in your pizza order and then just stop by and pick it up so you can have
wow. That's cool. I think we need to do our show. We need to do our show from there sometime.
Absolutely.
Wouldn't that be fun? Right up in the store?
That would be great. We would love to have you.
Oh my gosh, it would be so fun. I think that would be great.
It is. And there would be plenty to talk about because, as you said, there's so much to discover. I mean, we could spend an hour just on the No, it's not crystallized sugar.
Sparkling sugar.
Sparkling sugar.
I bet they have crystallized sugar, though, don't you? Is there
we
anything
probably do.
Because I'm telling you, there's so many different sugars. Every time I get your catalog, it's like I love when I get that in the mail. It's like, oh, and I don't like to flip. I like to have plenty of time and, sit in my chair and I love to look through it. It does inspire me to maybe want to bake a little bit, but no, I don't. But, all right. Well, I think that Melanie, you're going to be going back upstairs and help people with some cupcakes. I'm going to go up in a little bit and try my hand at it.
Yay.
And you are listening to Food for Thought. We're live at the Beacon Building, 814 Elm Street. We'd love to welcome you down and come and decorate a cupcake with King Arthur flour. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Good afternoon. Welcome back to Food for Thought with Carol. I'm Jeannie Lester. We're on 107.7 FM WTPL in Concord, Manchester, and the Lakes region, streaming all around the world on WTPLFM.com. And right here, we are in the lovely Beacon Building, 814 Elm Street in Manchester, and we are having an absolutely fantastic time decorating cupcakes, learning about cupcakes, and eating cupcakes, of course. And right now, Carol is going to be embarking on this cupcake decorating project.
I am pretty excited up here. I'm looking at all these different kinds of cupcakes and all these fillings and the toppings that you get to choose from. And I have to try the lemon curd. I have to try that one.
Yes.
So I'm going to hand you the mic, Melanie, and you can talk while I'm decorating.
Okay. Sure. So right now, Carol is using the cupcake core that we talked about earlier to take the center out of her cupcake so that she can have room for her filling. And she's going to use our piping bags to just pipe a little bit of the lemon curd in to keep it very clean for you. So it's not getting on your hands. It's not going anywhere. It's staying right in there. And now she's going to choose her frosting, which I'm guessing she'll probably choose the vanilla American buttercream. Yep. And so she's doing the nice
artful
rosette
touches,
top.
right?
And then for finishing, we have either the lemon sugar, some of the sprinkles, or you can take one of the fondant flowers that we made.
The fondant flowers sound intriguing.
She may get out
Oh my
of
gosh,
her,
this is so fun.
She may get out of her phobia of baking.
Okay, Jeannie, take a look. Isn't that beautiful?
It looks like a sunshiny
It's with lemon curd
little...
in the middle and the buttercream, like you said. And this is like so fun. So listeners, if you still haven't eaten lunch, we'd love to have you come on down to 814 Elm Street. We're live at the Beacon Building. We are here with King Arthur Flour. Melanie Wanders is here. And we are decorating cupcakes. And you can come on in and decorate your own cupcake. Or if you don't want to partake in the decorating part, you can come in and grab a cupcake. And you can come and eat. That's right. And she has all kinds of information here, too, on classes that are held up at King Arthur Flour. And I've been there before, and the store is just, you can spend really a couple hours in there minimal. And they have a cafe, and they have cooking demos, going on, and, you can have your questions and stuff. So welcome back to Food for Thought. We are live at the Beacon Building, 814 Elm Street in downtown Manchester. And we have King Arthur Flour here, and they are up in the atrium. And if you haven't eaten dessert, you have a little bit more time to come on down and decorate your own cupcake. So we have all kinds of fillings and frostings and all kinds of sugary toppings and flowers and all kinds of stuff. So, and I did my own. I did mine with some lemon curd inside and some vanilla buttercream.
Yes.
Buttercream frosting I put on. And you know what I was looking up this morning? I was just kind of looking up some things like some cupcake trivia. And I didn't realize, the question was, is there a difference between icing and frosting?
That's a good one.
Do you know the answer? Oh, I do.
Go ahead.
Look at her. She's so excited. She's like, I got it.
What they said. I mean, you are the master baker though, so I can't believe I stumped you. What they said was that icing was harder and that you use it more for decorating, like putting things on it. And the frosting is creamier and thicker. And then they did say that the frosting tastes better than the icing. Does that make sense?
That does make sense. So if you think of like royal icing cookies, where it's kind of this really thin, hard, just
right,
sugar, basically,
right,
on top. And then when you think of cakes, then you think of frosting. So butter and sugar, and
there you go. So that does make sense.
So what is the basic component of frosting? I mean, the way my mom taught me to make it is just confectioner's sugar, butter, and some milk. There's got to be probably more to it than that.
So we have two different frostings upstairs. One is that traditional American frosting that's softened butter with powdered sugar and milk, and then whatever flavorings you use. And then the other one I have up there is an Italian buttercream, and that's a little more involved. So it starts off with an Italian meringue. So cooking a sugar syrup to softball stage, and then mixing that in with egg whites. So you make almost something that looks like kind of marshmallow fluff, if you will. And then mixing that with softened butter. So it tends to be less sweet and kind of lighter than the traditional American style.
And then you, of course, add your flavorings in or whatever to flavor it a little bit.
So
Yep.
for making the chocolate one, I just added melted chocolate once I got it all together.
And melted chocolate as opposed to like cocoa powder.
Yeah, so normally if I was making the American style frosting, I would add cocoa powder to that. So in place of powdered sugar, you're adding cocoa powder. But once we have our final kind of meringue, we don't want to add more dry to it. So just makes it richer and a little easier to work with.
And as far as working with it, I noticed that what you had there was nice and fluid. I mean, the consistency was ideal, because that's the other thing I struggle with is mine is either too soupy or it's too stiff, or if you leave it out for a little bit, it hardens right up. What are your secrets for making sure that it's the right consistency?
Right. So temperature plays a big part in it. And kind of the fun thing that I like to tell people is that I actually get my frosting to the right temperature with a hairdryer. So I keep a hairdryer in my kitchen, in the kitchen. Also, when we made chocolates, we did the same thing. It gives kind of a nice gentle heat, and you can kind of point the warm air into the bowl or underneath. I tend to not like using the microwave to melt butter, because it's either rock hard or you have kind of the lava flow coming out. Everything else is perfectly softened. So in these temperatures, most of our houses are kind of in the upper 60s when it's really cold like this. And so softened butter doesn't happen that easily when it's cold in New England. And so I usually start by beating the butter up, and then if it still seems pretty cold, then I'll just give it a little shot of hot air from my hairdryer, and works like a charm.
That is a great idea.
It is a great idea. Kind of reminds me of Kim's Indian cooking.
It does. That's what I'm thinking. Like all these non-traditional ways to accomplish things. I'm a little more familiar with the hairdryer.
Yes, much.
Or a little more comfortable.
We can handle that,
Yes,
I think.
yes.
Yeah. And, Tyler is here with us. And Tyler, you, when you were at Bedford High, you had intercession, and you actually had the chance to go to King Arthur Flower School.
It was my sophomore year of high school at Bedford, and we choose intercession to go on. They take day trips, or you go somewhere overnight, and I chose to go on a baking trip. And one day we went up to King Arthur up in Vermont, and it was quite a long time ago, but I do remember we got a tour of the factory and saw like the bread being made. And, well, I know all I remember was we left with bags of food. We made so much. Like I remember loaves of bread and pretzels, and I don't remember exactly what we made, but I know we left with so much food.
I think I remember you coming home with pretzels. I definitely remember that, and bread too.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah.
And I remember the gift shop you guys had. It was when it was the newer. I know you guys just redid it or something, and it was fun. I know I got a couple things for Christmas or for someone's birthday was coming up. I bought there. I bought
Did you get my soup pot there?
I think I bought the King Arthur popover mix.
Oh, that
with the trays.
Because that's what I like.
I bought the trays for you, and
the muffin pans, the popover pans.
that was a good experience.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yes. So before we did our expansion of Camelot, which is what we call our headquarters, so all of our buildings have names from King Arthur. So there's Merlin and Avalon, Excalibur, and then again, Camelot is kind of our main building. And a few years ago, we did a huge expansion, and so moved the Baking Education Center, the store, and the bakery all in that building now.
So it's all in where the store is.
It is, yes.
Okay, all right.
And probably if you haven't been up in a while, it's a lot larger than what you remember.
Right, because when I had gone up, I believe it was detached, the school.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, all right. Oh, wow. Oh, I can't wait. I know. Have to do like a day trip going up there. And we need to talk about the history too of King Arthur flour because, I mean, it's been around for 220 years.
It has, yes.
That's amazing.
We are the oldest flour company in the United States.
Yes. I mean, I was reading, 2 centuries of flour and baking. I mean, it's amazing. It started in 1790.
Wow. What's neat is that you've got that tradition and the reputation that goes that long, but they're progressive in making sure that folks know some of the healthy ingredients that are in things and offering cooking classes. And so keeping up with the times, but still having that reputation for longevity.
Yeah, definitely.
Yep.
So then I'm curious, unless you had more on the history of it, because I'm sure in all that time there's a ton.
Well, you can, listeners can go to kingarthurflour.com and you have a huge website. Everything that you do is there, and you have, it's very easy to navigate, and you can click on the company history and learn a little bit more about it. But there's pictures too and everything, and it's pretty cool.
That is amazing. And all this time we've been talking about, of course, cupcakes and all different variations of food. And we've talked, Melanie, a little bit about some of your background in culinary arts. And as we're thinking about all the things that you do for work and that you're constantly baking and cooking and instructing and doing all the things that you do, when it comes to your own personal time, maybe it's a weekend or whenever it is, are you just done and you don't want to bake anything else? Or what happens? Is there a go-to thing that is really relaxing to you as far as food?
Baking. So
that is surprising.
I'm like the Energizer bunny of baking. So I just kind of keep going with it. And I always joke in my classes that if I could live off of butter and sugar, I would. And that's, I know that I have to eat other things, but if it was possible to just eat butter and sugar, I would.
Wow. So the smell of working with those things doesn't get to you and get to a point where, okay, I'm just done.
No.
So then what are some of your go-to, like, I love to make this on a weekend, or, is there something that's really just a pleasure for you to do as far as baking on your own time?
Yeah, so I love pretzels.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of a new thing. We have a new pretzel mix that's out. And so we're actually making those for my son's birthday party coming up. I thought that would be a fun thing for the kids to do, to make pretzels with us.
And they can dip them too and everything. I mean, there's all kinds of things you can do with the pretzels.
Exactly. Yeah, so I thought that would be a fun thing to do. And my boys, of course, because I do, love sweet things. So whenever I come home from work, they're both standing at the garage door saying, "Did you bring something sweet home, Mommy?"
Oh.
And so we do a lot of baking at home, just cupcakes, cookies, things like that.
Oh, that good stuff. Let's talk about the pretzels. So because again, for me, who's afraid of anything that sounds like it could be a yeasty product because I'm going to ruin it, how difficult is it to make pretzels? If you're going to be doing this for your son's birthday party, maybe it's not that difficult and it's something I could tackle.
It's not, and it's forgiving.
Okay.
Which is nice.
Mm-hmm.
And the directions are just kind of clearly written out on the back of the box, kind of to the minute. So you can
handle that, Jeannie?
No. I mean, the directions were written down in a recipe too, and apparently that didn't work. But so to do it, if you kind of go through, so you do whatever it says to mix up the dough.
Exactly. So you'll mix up your dough and then let it sit for 30 minutes. So just time your timer, 30 minutes.
Okay.
You'll go back. And then
do you have to roll it?
That's coming next.
Oh, forget
it. So you'll divide the dough into however many pretzels you want to make. I think the mix makes 8 kind of regular size pretzels, and you'll kind of roll them into a log, kind of snake-like. And then it gives you a tutorial on the back of how you do the shaping of the pretzel. And kind of the big thing that might scare you a little bit about the pretzels is that you need to boil them in a baking soda solution that gives them their nice kind of really
that
brown.
shine
Exactly.
kind of? Ooh.
Yep. So, and it's really just 30 seconds. So you just boil water like you're boiling up for pasta with a little bit of baking soda in it. 30 seconds, flip them, and then they go right into the oven.
All right,
Okay,
so you boil them. So you roll them like that, and you put them into that pretzel shape, and then put them into the water, in the boiling water on one side, and then the other side, and then bake them.
Exactly. Right. And the great thing is that you could make pretzel buns with it if you didn't, for your burgers. I love a burger with a pretzel bun. So you don't have to actually make the pretzel shape. You could do other things with it.
Around. Yeah, that's a great idea because that is the biggest new thing is everybody, maybe it's not that new anymore, but everybody's got a pretzel bun for the hamburger.
Yes.
And it's fantastic.
Yeah.
Even pretzel sticks.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
Exactly.
you can make all
for
kinds of
parties
shapes.
or
Well, that's why that would be fun for a party. Once you get the dough all made, I guess, ahead of time, and then you have the kids kind of help shape it, that would be a really fun thing to do as a kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so.
Get through the first part. The boiling doesn't scare me. It's all the prep work in the beginning, but that doesn't sound too bad. How far off is that from what people do to bagels?
it's very similar.
It is. Okay.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's similar because I know there's boiling involved there.
Yep. Same idea.
Very nice.
Let's just let's kind of recap King Arthur Flour, like for people that may have been listening or may have come here, and I know you handed out some literature for people. So if people are listening, and how would they find out a little bit more about like the baking classes, and if they want to go?
Yep. So they can always go online to kingarthurflour.com, click on the Learn section, and that will tell you about our classes that are happening at our headquarters in Norwich, Vermont. We have classes year-round from beginners, kind of kids, to people that are yeast phobic. So very basic classes.
Like Jeannie and me.
All the way up to professional classes, so professional development for chefs and people in the industry. So kind of runs the gamut. You can always, with baking questions, call the Baker's Hotline.
That's so cool.
Or chat with us online. Send your questions by email. Or if you're in the Norwich, Vermont area, come and visit us at the store and see our demo kitchen and ask some questions there.
How long was the ride down? It wasn't a little over an hour, maybe?
Just a little over an hour.
Yeah. So it's
very
really
doable.
It is definitely very doable. So it's a nice destination place too. Like even to go up and have breakfast at the cafe.
Exactly.
And then
Nice
shop
day trip
around.
and-
It is a nice day trip. Very nice. Well, thank you very much, Melanie, for coming on and making the
Thanks for
trip
having
down.
me.
And I know that everybody, they definitely enjoyed it. Everybody enjoyed it. It was very fun. The atrium was buzzing today, so it was very good. So King Arthur Flour, check them out, kingarthurflour.com. And tomorrow we have Mike Morin in studio here. He's going to be starting a new segment. It's like a food comedy, and it's something tomorrow about pizza. So stay tuned, and we'll see everybody tomorrow. Bye bye.